NASA told us it was just a comet, but now it's changing direction, and something is coming toward Mars, and scientists have no idea what it really is. It's accelerating, it's steering, and if it changes course even slightly, Mars could be hit. But the real shock? It's acting more like a spacecraft than a rock. Data from the James Webb Space Telescope showed something shocking. 3I Atlas was no longer drifting naturally, it was steering. Tiny but precise adjustments began pushing it closer and closer to Mars. Before we continue with this space mystery, please subscribe and like the video. It'll really helps the algorithm reach more people who are fascinated by space mysteries, updates, and discoveries. And here's the part that turns science into fear. 3I Atlas might hit Mars. What was once a safe flyby was now becoming a potential collision. But this isn't just about a possible impact. This is about behavior no comet has ever shown before. It's accelerating instead of slowing down. It's releasing gas pulses in perfect 17-minute intervals. And most disturbing of all, those pulses look exactly like controlled thrust. It's almost as if 3I Atlas is firing engines, not randomly but deliberately. Is this a natural object or a machine? Scientists are now whispering the unthinkable. 3I Atlas might not be a comet at all. It might be an engineered probe from another civilization, one that is now targeting Mars for reasons we don't yet understand. And this is just the beginning, because as we dug deeper into the data, we realized something even more unsettling. The object isn't just coming toward Mars, it's communicating, and the message is hidden in its movement. At first, scientists tried to stay calm. Maybe it's just a strange comet, they said. Maybe sunlight is heating the ice and changing its path. But then, one discovery destroyed that explanation completely. Rhythmic gas bursts every 17 minutes. Comets usually release gas randomly as they warm up, but 3I Atlas? It was firing in perfect clock-like patterns. Every pulse came right on schedule. Not 1 second early, not 1 second late. That's not chaos, that's control. Even stranger, these thrusts were aligned with Mars's orbital plane. It was as if the object was aiming. It wasn't drifting, it was navigating. And then came another shock. Data from NASA's Goldstone radar and the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter showed metallic echoes bouncing off the object's surface. Echoes that comets never produce. Instead of frozen ice and rock, it was reflecting like metal. This changed everything. Because now, 3I Atlas wasn't just suspicious, it was possibly artificial. Could this be an engineered probe? That's the question scientists were now forced to ask. And the deeper they looked, the more unsettling the evidence became. Brightness doubled within weeks, far faster than any natural outgassing. Ultraviolet energy spikes appeared, something we see in powered engines, not comets. And then 3 needle-thin beams of green light were captured, all converging on Mars. It felt less like a rock and more like a vehicle on a mission. But if 3I Atlas is a probe, then what is its mission? Some believe it could be a delivery system, meant to crash into Mars and release something. Others think it's a signal, a way to say, we're here. And a few scientists whisper an even darker theory. What if Mars isn't the target, but the trigger? Because what comes next suggests this event is much bigger than one comet. It might be part of a cosmic plan. For weeks, astronomers kept recalculating the data, and with every update, the numbers looked worse. Impact distance 1.95 million kilometers. That's practically nothing on a cosmic scale. And if the object adds just a little more speed, even 10 km/s, its path would shift straight into Mars. Think about that. Just a tiny nudge, and Mars becomes ground zero. If that happens, the consequences would be beyond anything humanity has ever witnessed. 10 billion tons of mass. Speed, 57 km/s relative to Mars. Energy, over 2 million megatons. That's thousands of times more powerful than the biggest nuclear explosion ever on Earth. The result, a 60-kilometer-wide crater deeper than the Grand Canyon. Debris ejected into space, some possibly reaching Earth, and the destruction of every rover, orbiter, and research station we've ever sent. But the real danger might not be the explosion itself. Scientists warn about something far more terrifying: contamination. Mars could be hiding ancient subsurface lakes, dormant microbes, even traces of past life. An impact of this magnitude would crack the planet's crust wide open, exposing regions humanity has never touched. And if 3I Atlas is carrying organic molecules, or worse, synthetic biology, it could mix with Mars's environment. Panspermia in reverse. Instead of life spreading from Mars to Earth, it might be seeded into Mars deliberately, which raises a question that shakes science to its core. What if destruction was never the goal? What if 3I Atlas is not a weapon, but a delivery system? What if Mars isn't just a target, but an incubator? And just when scientists thought they'd seen the worst, new data from James Webb revealed something that shattered even their most radical theories. Because inside 3I Atlas, they found things that should not exist in space. The more scientists studied 3I Atlas, the more impossible it seemed. At first, they believed it was just gas and dust, but then James Webb Space Telescope detected something that made jaws drop across every mission control on Earth. Synthetic polymers, carbon nanotubes, engineered molecules. These are not the kinds of materials that form naturally in space. They're the kinds of materials we create in laboratories on Earth. And they weren't scattered randomly. They were embedded in the gas cloud surrounding the object, as if 3I Atlas was designed to carry them. As if that wasn't enough, spectral scans revealed isotopic anomalies, unusual patterns in carbon and hydrogen that don't match any known solar system object. This wasn't just a comet anymore. It was a construction. We are not looking at a rock. We are looking at technology. And then, something even more mysterious happened. NASA's usual live updates suddenly stopped. Public press releases were delayed. Data streams from Mars rovers like Perseverance showed strange gaps. Behind closed doors, a single classified phrase appeared in a leaked transmission: Impact Protocol initiated. But what does that mean? We have no planetary defense system strong enough to stop something like 3I Atlas. So why activate a protocol? Unless, the purpose wasn't to stop it, but to signal it. Are we talking to it? Some experts believe that Earth might have started transmitting encoded signals to Mars orbiters and landers, not to protect them, but to prepare them. Because if 3I Atlas is intelligent, even semi-autonomous, it might not respond to our words. It might respond to energy signatures, radio pulses, or orbital beacons. We may have just confirmed that we're listening. And worse, we may have just confirmed that we're responding. But the most chilling theory is still ahead. Because when scientists decoded the object's movement itself, they realized it might not just be heading to Mars. It might be sending a message. For centuries, humans have searched the skies for signs of intelligent life. We listened for radio signals. We scanned for lasers. We waited for something to speak. But what if the first real message from another civilization isn't sent through sound or light? What if it's sent through movement? The trajectory itself might be a signal. That's the conclusion a team of cryptographers at the SETI Institute reached after running an experiment no one had ever tried before. They converted 3I Atlas's flight path, speed, timing, and gravitational vectors into binary data, and what emerged wasn't random. It was structured, repeating. Inside that pattern were sequences matching atomic numbers: 6, 8, 14, 26, carbon, oxygen, silicon, iron, the very building blocks of life and technology. And that wasn't all. Between those sequences were prime number intervals, a classic signature of intelligent communication. 3I Atlas isn't just traveling, it's talking. Its movement is deliberate, its timing is precise, and its closest approach to Mars? That's not an accident either. It's part of the message. If it strikes, that's one message. If it misses, that's another. It's as if the universe itself is writing a sentence, and the punctuation depends on what happens next. Then came a discovery that turned speculation into suspicion. The updated trajectory of 3I Atlas passed directly over Elysium Planitia, a region of Mars with perfectly circular formations, spiral ridges, and crystalline deposits that pulse with infrared light under sunlight. For decades, scientists called it a geological mystery, but now, one question is impossible to ignore. Was this site a coincidence or a rendezvous point? It's starting to look like 3I Atlas isn't just coming towards Mars, it's coming for a specific location on Mars. And just when astronomers thought they had seen it all, they discovered something trailing behind 3I Atlas, something invisible, something following it. Just as scientists were decoding the message hidden in 3I Atlas motion, something appeared that no one could explain. A second object, but not an object. Trailing exactly 0.07 astronomical units behind 3I Atlas was a shadow, a region where light simply vanished. It wasn't debris, it wasn't gas, it wasn't even dust. Radar couldn't detect it, infrared couldn't warm it, but photometric analysis showed a sudden sharp drop in light, one that moved in perfect unison with 3I Atlas. What made it even stranger? This dark presence never changed speed, it never drifted. It maintained an exact distance as if tethered by some invisible thread. Something is following 3I Atlas, and that raised terrifying questions. Is it a secondary craft? A drone or a probe? Or could it be a gravitational echo? A memory left in space itself? Scientists even began to consider the most radical possibility. What if 3I Atlas isn't the main actor, but the carrier? What if the real payload is this invisible companion, and the comet we're watching is just the delivery system? Then the mystery deepened even more. When astronomers mapped 3I Atlas's entire journey, from its first detection to its projected encounter with Mars, they noticed something chilling. Every major alignment matched key astronomical resonance dates. September 23rd, October 5th, November 11th. These weren't random. They matched ancient cycles known to early civilizations, rare orbital harmonics that occur roughly every 54 years. And the last time a similar alignment occurred? 1908, the Tunguska event. A mysterious explosion over Siberia that flattened 2,000 square kilometers of forest, caused by an object that was never found. This was no coincidence. The timing, the positioning, the resonance, all of it suggested that 3I Atlas was following a cosmic schedule. It's not wandering, it's timing itself. But the strangest clue of all wasn't in the sky, it was inside our minds. As the scientific world scrambled to explain the shadow following 3I Atlas, a completely different kind of discovery changed the conversation. It didn't come from telescopes, it didn't come from radar, it came from the human brain. Neural synchronization detected. A research group studying brain activity during deep meditation made a shocking observation. When participants were exposed to the 17-minute pulsation frequency, the same rhythm as 3I Atlas's gas bursts, their brainwaves began to synchronize. Not just one person, not just in one lab, but multiple people in different rooms who didn't even know the signal was playing. This isn't just resonance, it's communication. It was as if the object's signal was not only mechanical, but cognitive. Something or someone out there was tuning human consciousness itself. And the implications? Terrifying. If a signal millions of kilometers away can affect our minds, then maybe 3I Atlas isn't just a machine. Maybe it's a thought. A seed of awareness traveling through the universe, searching for a mind to take root in. What if 3I Atlas is not meant to be understood, but to be felt? What if the real impact isn't on Mars's surface, but inside us? But the mysteries didn't stop there. Ancient astronomers might have known something we're only now beginning to understand. Across Babylonian tablets, Mayan codices, and Tibetan scrolls, they described a celestial entity called the Flame Serpent, a visitor from the outer darkness, curving near the sun, aimed at the red god, Mars. Thousands of years before telescopes existed, humanity had already drawn the same path, the same sinuous orbit 3I Atlas follows today. Coincidence or memory? And here's the most disturbing possibility of all. 3I Atlas might not be new, it might be returning. If that's true, this isn't just a comet passing through history, it's history itself, repeating. Just when scientists thought they had seen every strange detail about 3I Atlas, Mars itself started behaving in ways no one could explain. Xenon isotopes rising from beneath the surface. The ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter detected a sudden chemical spike in the Martian atmosphere. At first, experts blamed solar radiation, but the data didn't match. The Xenon wasn't falling from space, it was rising from deep within Mars, and that wasn't all. Seismic activity spiked. Subsurface temperature increased by 3 degrees Kelvin. Magnetic pulses repeating every 17 minutes. The exact same frequency as 3I Atlas's gas bursts. Was Mars responding? It was almost as if the planet itself was reacting to the approaching object. Not like a rock waiting for impact, but like a system turning on. Scientists started asking a question that sounded more like science fiction than astronomy. What if Mars isn't being threatened? What if it's being activated? Something ancient and dormant might be buried beneath its crust. Something that responds to specific signals. And 3I Atlas could be the key that unlocks it. The evidence grew stronger. James Webb sensors detected light patterns that no longer matched simple rotational spin. Instead, the pulses formed a Fibonacci-based sequence. The same mathematical pattern found in DNA spirals, galaxies, and even human memory encoding. 3i Atlas isn't counting seconds, it's counting cycles. The object might not be measuring time in minutes or hours, but in epochs. And if that's true, its arrival might not be an event. It could be a synchronization point, a point where orbit, energy, and consciousness align. And as that moment drew closer, Mars revealed one more secret, one that shook the scientific community to its core. A signal from beneath Olympus Mons, a structured repeating tone matching the exact spiral waveform of 3i Atlas, began rising from the largest volcano in the solar system. Mars was answering. As the 17-minute countdown continued and Olympus Mons hummed with that mysterious signal, scientists began digging through decades-old data, and what they found made the impossible feel inevitable. A forgotten thermal scan from Mars Odyssey. Nearly 20 years ago, a weak heat signature was detected beneath Utopia Planitia, but it was dismissed as sensor noise. When researchers rescanned the same region during 3i Atlas's approach, the heat was back, stronger, structured, and now forming a specific shape, a descending spiral colliding with a circle. Next to it, two planetary spheres aligning at the moment of contact. It wasn't random, it looked like a map, or a memory. What if Mars isn't just a planet, but a recorder? Some scientists now believe Mars has been storing cosmic events within its crust, geological layers acting like data tapes, waiting for the right key to play them back. And 3i Atlas? It might be that key. Then something happened that no one on Earth could explain. An eye formed in the dust. High-resolution images from ESA's Mars Express orbiter captured two perfect concentric ovals expanding across the surface near Noctis Labyrinthus. Over 4 hours, they shifted into a recognizable image. An eye tilted 23.5 degrees, the exact tilt of Earth's axis. Mars was looking back. It wasn't a metaphor, it was geometry. Precise, deliberate geometry that showed awareness not just of its surroundings, but of us. Scientists now faced a chilling possibility. What if Mars has been expecting this? What if the alignment of 3i Atlas and Mars wasn't random, but part of a conversation that started long before humans ever existed? Because every new scan, every decoded signal, every strange pulse pointed to one undeniable truth. Something beneath Mars knows we're here. And then came the final revelation, the one that turned science into shock. Inside 3i Atlas's vapor trail, scientists found something that looked disturbingly familiar, yet entirely alien. As 3i Atlas moved into its final descent, James Webb Space Telescope performed one last deep analysis of the vapor it left behind. And what they found changed everything. A repeating molecular sequence, eerily similar to RNA. It wasn't Earth-like, it wasn't random, and most importantly, it was structured for replication. But here's the part that shook astrobiologists to their core. Parts of the sequence matched human-designed encryption keys. Other sections formed mathematical ratios, the same as musical intervals. It was as if the molecule wasn't just alive, it was trying to interact, trying to respond, trying to communicate. Life not as cells, but as language. And then, as the final moments approached, the cosmos itself seemed to fall into place. Mars, Earth, and the Sun aligned in a perfect straight line. 3i Atlas intersected the axis at the precise second of solar transit. This was no accident. Every ancient monument, from Stonehenge to Teotihuacan, pointed to this celestial angle. Humanity had been unknowingly preparing for it for thousands of years. 3i Atlas wasn't a rock, it was a keystone, a final piece in a cosmic mechanism older than our species, maybe older than our planet itself, and then silence. No explosion, no visible impact, no catastrophe, just a stillness that felt different. Because maybe this was never about destruction, maybe it was about completion. We thought 3i Atlas was coming for Mars, but maybe it came for us, for our curiosity, for our awareness, for our attention. Every telescope we built, every signal we sent, every question we asked into the dark. It all led to this moment. 3i Atlas didn't strike Mars, it struck our understanding. So now the question is no longer what this object is, but what comes next? Will it return? Will something awaken beneath Mars's surface? Or have we already triggered a chain of events written into the fabric of the universe? Maybe Mars was never the target. Maybe the target was us, our minds, our evolution, our future. And if that's true, then this isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning. Do you think 3I Atlas was an accident or an invitation? Because if it was the latter, we may have just answered a question humanity has been asking since the dawn of time, and the universe has finally replied. We looked for life among the stars, and it may have been looking for us all along. If your perspective on space just shifted even a little, do me a small favor. Hit that like button so more people can join us on this journey. Subscribe if you're ready to explore more cosmic stories that challenge everything we think we know. And I really want to hear your thoughts. Comment below and tell me, is 3I Atlas proof that we're not alone, or just nature playing tricks on us?